Good afternoon, everyone. This is the latest episode of Sports Guru. I am back after a bit of a break. It is presently March 16th, 2024, and I am here to talk Yankees, as always, unfiltered, straight from the hip, and with as little sugarcoating as humanly possible. Since my initial prediction for how the season would unfold, there's been, needless to say, a major change of plans. The ace of the Yankee rotation, Gerrit Cole, is now out minimum 1 to 2 months with a relatively unspecified elbow injury, initially believed to be a torn UCL, which would have cost him the entire season and a large chunk of the next year, requiring Tommy John surgery. But the team was fortunate enough, and Cole was fortunate enough, that the MRIs came back negative on a tear in the UCL in his right elbow. So he will attempt to rest and rehabilitate the injury and be back sometime in June or July, is what is in all likelihood the prognosis. We've been down this road before. For those who do not recall, in 2019, Luis Severino spent much of the season out of the lineup with an injury to his neck and his shoulder that went somewhat undiagnosed, relatively vague on the status of his injury as he dealt with nerve issues to his right shoulder and to his neck. He ended up making just 4 starts at the end of the season, throwing 11 innings before the playoffs began. I don't expect to see Cole out of the lineup until the end of the summer, as the season turns into fall, but I don't think it would be responsible to expect anything beyond 18 to 20 starts out of him this year. Now, anyone who understands the implications of that knows this is a major setback for a team that was already short on reliable starting pitching. I have right here the data courtesy of Baseball Reference for the Yankee pitching rotation last year. Cole, Clark Schmidt, Domingo Germán, and Michael King were the only 4 players on the team last year to log at least 100 innings pitched. King, of course, is gone. He is in San Diego courtesy of the Juan Soto trade. Germán is gone, having just signed with the Pirates in free agency. So that leaves Clark Schmidt, Marcus Stroman, who threw roughly 150 innings last year, only 24 of them after the All-Star break. Johnny Brito, who threw 90 innings. Schmidt, as I mentioned, who threw for 159 innings in 33 starts to a 4.64 ERA. And then, of course, it leaves us with Nestor Cortez, who is presently slated to make the opening day start in Houston, and Carlos Rodon, both of whom are complete wild cards as of this point in time. At the same time, the Yankees are on record stating that they are all in for this season. And I find this hard to believe. I find it hard to find credible because there are far too many questions to their rotation right now, and there are 2 very simple solutions that exist on the free agent market right now that Hal Steinbrenner cannot afford to ignore if he wants to be taken seriously by this fan base, which is the lifeblood of any organization. There are presently both Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell sitting on the free agent market. Both of them have been unsigned the entire offseason, which is, to simply put, absurd. Montgomery this past year, in 32 starts, pitched to a 3.20 ERA, 2.79 in his final 11 starts after arriving in Houston, throwing for 188 and 2/3 innings. Was a key starter on a team that won the World Series. Has experience playing in the South Bronx, in front of that crowd, in that locker room. It does not bother him to play in front of a demanding audience. It does not bother him when he plays for a team that does not give him run support. He is more than capable of handling the pressure of a low-scoring game. And the Yankees desperately need starters who can eat innings. Year in and year out, this pitching staff fails to go deep into games, and by the early weeks of August, the bullpen is burned out because they're consistently asked to go 4 or 5 games. 4 or 5 innings every game. My apologies. You do not have any starters that can even pretend to say they can chew up innings right now. Your pen will hit the wall, and they'll hit the wall hard, and you may not even get to the middle of the season, at which point Cole would be back if you don't go with someone. You cannot sit on the sideline. The same goes for Snell, a 2-time Cy Young winner who pitched to a 2.25 ERA last year, also throwing for 180 innings. Also a lefty, and someone who's close with both Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, his former teammate in San Diego. This move would do more good than I could overstate. I would find it nearly impossible to overstate how much goodwill it would bring, how much goodwill it would earn, I should say, to bring in either one of those two at a point where the pitching staff needs it. You needed them before. You need them even more now. You cannot trade prospects for a cheaper arm. You cannot just sit idle when you don't even have a guarantee that Soto will be on this team next year. You cannot waste another season of Judge or Cole's prime, and you don't have any guarantees of what you're going to be getting at catcher, shortstop, first base, or third base. There's no guarantee what you'll be getting at center field when Jason Dominguez comes back from Tommy John surgery. You have to bring in some proven commodities if you want this fan base to trust that your organization is committed to winning. The ticket prices are absurd. For the fans in the suburbs, the Long Island Railroad prices are absurd coming and going from games. And it's no better if we drive and park in the lots near the stadium. We want to be there. We want to trust this team. But a move has to be made. The team is not ready to contend. And as it stands, they're barely capable of winning the division if they get lucky. This would show the audience that you're committed, that you are all in. You have to make one of these moves. Absolutely have to make one of these moves. I don't expect to see one, but I pray that I'm proven wrong. Please, Hal Steinbrenner, do the right thing. Sign one of these guys. Shore up the rotation. And show us that you've seen the error of your past mistakes. If anything, the financial ramifications of missing the postseason cost you millions in ticket sales and concession stand revenue every postseason game. Don't miss out on that just because you want to avoid the luxury tax. It would do you infinitely more good both in the short term and the long term to consistently field a contender. I hope to come back next time with good news. As always, this is Sports Guru. Thank you for your time. hit the like and subscribe buttons, and have a great afternoon. Happy spring.